Hello, I am John Campanini, Technical Director of the Rhode Island Tree Council with another edition of Big Trees of Rhode Island. In this edition, we will discuss the American elm and the Camperdown elm. They are impressive plants with many fine qualities. While one, the Camperdown elm, is much rarer, there are many beautiful specimens of each growing in the Ocean State. We will take a look at some of the best of them as this video continues. Elms are members of the Ulmaceae family. They are mostly large deciduous shade trees growing throughout the north temperate zone of Europe, North America, and Asia. They produce small flowers and fruit and have simple oval-shaped leaves. The Camperdown elm is the oddball of the Ulmaceae family, and we'll look at it first. A quick glance of the tree is all one needs to see why. Unlike other elms, the Camperdown is not very tall. The specimen pictured is found in Renfrew Park, Middletown, Rhode Island. I estimate the tree was planted in the 1940s and is close to 80 years old. At the highest peak in the crown, the plant tops out at 23 feet in height. That's not tall at all, but the Camperdown elm is a very slow-growing tree. Its average mature height is 15 to 20 feet. By these standards, the Renfrew Park plant is certainly an overachiever. Another notable characteristic of Camperdowns is its round-headed crown. The shape is quite distinctive, like the dome of a Roman cathedral. It is the product of the many different ways in which the branches grow. Look closely to see them. They twist, turn, and bend. They also orient themselves horizontally and pendulously. Few small-statured trees have such superb architectural qualities. Before leaving this Camperdown, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it's a Rhode Island species champion and has reigned since first discovered in 2000. For the record, the tree has a trunk girth of 10 feet 7 inches with an average crown spread of 45 feet. There is another very fine Camperdown elm located at the Clouds Hill Victorian House Museum on Post Road in East Greenwich, Rhode Island. Here is a nice picture of the tree. It is not as old and, at 20 feet in height, is a little bit smaller than the Renfrew Park tree. Still, the tree is very handsome, and who knows, someday may even become a champion. Lastly, the Camperdown elm is a cultivated variety of the Scots elm. In America, the plant is developed by grafting the cultivar onto the understock of American elm. The American elm, unlike the Camperdown elm, is a native tree. It also grows very tall, reaching up to 80 feet in height with a spread 1/2 to 2/3 the height. In the early 20th century, the American elm was recognized as America's most popular tree. Thousands of them grew along the streets, in parks, and in the residential landscapes of almost every New England and Midwestern city and town. They had many special qualities and the public revered them. These included the tree's beauty, ease of cultivation and care. But of all its cherished traits, the best by far was the tree's unmatched fountain head form. Long, arching, and pendulous branches atop a tall, straight trunk. The result was classic symmetry and grace in a tree that was both iconic and unforgettable. One of the best examples I've ever seen of a fountainhead American elm is the one pictured here. The tree lived in Little Compton and was a species champion. Its trunk measured 16 feet in circumference and the average crown spread was 88 feet. The tree stood at 95 feet in height. This elm, known as the Pride of Little Compton, was severely damaged by a 2016 summer windstorm. The elm became structurally unsafe and had to be removed. It was 143 years young at the time. Another majestic elm that few eyes have ever seen is located in Newport. The setting is in the very private grounds of the New York Yacht Club on Haledon Avenue. As the image shows, the elm is the centerpiece of the landscape. The crown is towering. At 108 feet, it has the widest spread of any elm in Rhode Island. The bark is also very unique. The color is silvery gray to grayish black, while the texture is rough and deeply furrowed. These are typical features of old-aged American elms at their finest. A more detailed story of the Haledon Avenue elm appeared in the 4th edition of the Champion Trees of Rhode Island, published in 2016. The tree is ranked the number 4th biggest of its kind. The last American elm we will visit is located on Garfield Avenue in Central Falls. The tree is one of my personal favorites. Engulfed by houses, sidewalks, and roads, this tree defies the elements. The scene speaks volumes of what Americans loved most of the American elm during its heyday, its toughness and adaptability. At the time this video was shot, the Garfield Avenue elm was the second biggest tree of its kind. The tree's height is 85 feet, the trunk girth is 15 feet, and the crown spread is 102 feet. By all accounts, this elm is an urban warrior worthy of our admiration. One last word before we end this session. The American elm is no longer the dominant tree it once was. A devastating and uncontrollable alien fungus nearly eliminated the species during the middle decades of the 20th century. The affliction was called Dutch elm disease, and to this day still attacks vulnerable elms. Attempts in recent years to clone disease-resistant elms has been fruitful with the release of many promising American elm hybrids. Many are fine trees, but none are fully guaranteed as disease-free. Who knows how long the American elms we showcased, as well as the 200 or 300 others we estimate are still living in Rhode Island, will be with us. But as long as they are, they should be treated as valued treasure. Finally, the Big Trees of Rhode Island is an educational program of the Rhode Island Tree Council. The program's aim is to stimulate the public's awareness, care, and protection of Rhode Island's venerable, old big trees. Financial support for the program is provided by the Helen Walker Raleigh Tree Care Trust, an advice fund of the Rhode Island Foundation. For more information on the Big Tree series, the Champion Tree Program, or our other educational programs, please contact the Rhode Island Tree Council by the methods shown on the screen.